I I appreciate how with each stream I'm slightly getting my shit more and more together. Only slightly. Like, anytime I give myself credit, things get worse. So here's hoping they don't. Because I finally found out that I just need to turn, like, the image cropping off of automatic and also just turn off randomized playback. Because I've noticed for a while now that no matter how many images I add, I'm still getting, like, the same exact group of images posted again and again. And I did add new shit. Sad part is that we haven't seen any of it yet. But welcome to the stream. I didn't stream yesterday because I just didn't really feel like it. And after the week I've had, I was just sitting there like, do I want to stream? Then I figured, I mean, on Saturday I'm not doing anything, why not? So let me stop the music and actually start up the game. Just saw Faust get a part-time job in Krusty Krab. Excuse me? That is a sentence to lead off with. Why did I have the video? Yeah, why did I have the videos app open? The fuck? Now let's hope OBS doesn't kill itself like it did like 4 weeks ago. OBS really said, I'm here. Nah. Going to sleep. Y'all can hold that one. So we stop this. Turn the capture for that off. Turn the capture for that on. So throwing switch clear. Finally, nature is healing. I can't believe Kazuya Mishima casually saved Nickelodeon. Alright, I'm assuming since the settings are the exact same as last time, I should be good. I'm aware of tips mode. I've been aware of tips mode since I started the game. Thank you. I'm aware it's fiction. Manjo, you don't need to speak. Kazuya forces Nickelodeon to be more creative. Helps them make millions. You see, Kazuya was a big fan of Harvey Beaks. He was a big fan of C.H. Greenblatt, so when he saw how Harvey Beaks was treated, he had to take action. Oh god. Let me actually start reading. Natsui could be found in a dimly lit hallway. Now and then the thunder would crash, but this had no effect on Natsui's expression. She looked completely worn out. Making the stream just... The discussion that had just taken place between the relatives in the dining hall was repeating itself inside Natsui's mind. Beatrice has been... You'd think I'd be more awake doing this on a Saturday afternoon instead of a Friday night, but my brain is just as slow. Beatrice had proclaimed, you know this word, why am I messing it up? That in addition to the gold, all of the inheritance and property of the Ushiramiya family would be given to the person who could solve the riddle. In other words, she planned to undermine the absolute guarantee that Kraus, as the oldest brother, had to succeed the family head. Originally, the other siblings had absolutely no chance to inherit the headship. To them, this proposal by Beatrice was extremely desirable. It was obvious that they would accept it. Oh. There was no need to play some clumsy detective game. Natsui knew this so-called 19th person Beatrice couldn't exist. Naturally, Beatrice was nothing more than a fictional character, used to pass a message that Kenzo had written himself. As proof, Kenzo had remained stubbornly neutral as to that letter's authenticity. He was completely ignoring these reckless claims that he shouldn't be able to ignore, that he had given up on the head's ring. In short, Kenzo had wordlessly admitted that the letter held his own message. Most likely, one of the servants had given Maria the letter. Kenzo had probably worked out an elaborate plan where the dress from the portrait would be prepared. And someone, probably Shannon, would be made to wear it and deliver the letter and the umbrella. Beatrice 5 minutes after rev up those Ferrari walks in and Roman cancels at the start. By doing that, he can make it seem like the witch from the portrait actually existed. No, if anything, that alone was proof that Kenzo was behind all this. In that case, it was the same as Kenzo trying to butt in on the siblings' private discussion. Then Kenzo, by announcing that he'd give everything to the person who solved the riddle, could weaken Krause's overwhelming advantage. Now it was certain. Kenzo had eavesdropped on the siblings' discussion in the parlor earlier that day. So he had known how Krause had staved off the attack by the other three. And to make the scales of the battle go back into balance, he had sent out this strange letter which benefited Krause's rivals. He was trying to push this crazy theory so that Rosa, who had a weak position among the siblings because of her age, would join with Eva and Rudolph. Then, with the 3-1 advantage, they'd be able to overwhelm Krause yet again and make their ridiculous theories get accepted by force. And by doing that, he gave them the power to resettle what had once been a nearly decided conflict. They had now started repeatedly pressing Krause to pay them a large amount of money. Using the condition that all of the siblings would agree to Krause's position as the successor, talk about the advance payments was being brought up again despite having been rejected once. Of course, even without the story about the hidden gold, the Ushiramir family's store of wealth was vast. That store of wealth alone was more than enough. Even if the hidden gold was buried forever along with Kenzo's death, there would be more than enough to satisfy. Therefore, even if they weren't that interested in the gold itself, Kenzo had managed to instill the lifelong fear that, on the off chance someone found the gold, that person would be granted the headship. And this kind of Achilles heel would definitely be taken advantage of by someone sooner or later. The only person with this fatal weakness was the successor, Krause. The other siblings had found no. They had been told by Kenzo about something that only Krause could lose, and they had thirdly taken advantage of that. Natsuhi, as Krause's only ally in his painful position, and as his wife, wanted to fight alongside him. She kept trying to explain to him that the existence of the gold itself was a farce, and that there was no need for him to compromise. Krause had always told Natsui. He had told all of the siblings. He always said that the hidden gold was nothing more than an illusion created by Kenzo. Therefore, Natsui had believed it as his wife. Okay, that was a mixture of me thinking I read something wrong, and my brain messing it up. Therefore, Natsui had believed it as his wife. There we go. My brain read it at, not it as. Therefore, Natsui believed it as his wife and had supported her husband on that foundation. I felt like him would have been better than it there, but okay. Even so, Natsui's words didn't reach Kraus. Even though Natsui had fought so hard and had lent all of her strength, he continued to fight by himself and was trying to compromise with the other three siblings. Natsui sadly and weakly wondered why she couldn't be of use to him, then started getting angry. It had happened when everyone decided to take a short break to cool their heads. Natsui had flared up against Kraus. Added a T to his name. This is where the brain is going. Enraged, she had asked why she couldn't be useful to him. He had then told her that he wanted to talk about something and invited her into a room that she was normally not allowed to enter. That room had been sealed away with a heavy-looking padlock, and just looking at it had given her an uncomfortable feeling.
Okay,
but for real, Shredder in the next Smash clone would be fucking wrong. Oh yeah, I forget that. You know, despite seeing Leonardo and Michelangelo in that trailer order, I forget Nick owns the rights to the Ninja Turtles now, including every iteration. It still irks me that they own the rights to 2003 and it still doesn't really get anything. Still waiting for Beatrice to walk out like, now the gold's real. You're just pussy. Kraus removed the padlock on the door. He then motioned for Natsui to enter. Enter. Not even go in, just enter. Just walk up behind her. Bitch. Otter, that would be the best scene in the game, hands down. Just Beatrice quietly walking up behind any named character and going, bitch. And then disappearing right after. Natsui timidly opened the door with a dubious expression on her face. It was pitch black. She searched for a switch to turn on the lights, but since this was her first time in the room, she didn't know where it was. Kraus entered behind her, pushing her in, and when he closed the door before turning on the lights, the two were swallowed up by the darkness. Only the sound of Kraus locking the door rang out through the dark. Oh, hey, Shadow. Admittedly, I was like, man, where'd he go? He's usually here around like 12, and then I just kind of existed. But how are you doing? I'm waiting for some fuck shit to be in this room. I'm turning on the lights. I don't like where this is going. Just as he said, when Kraus pushed a switch on the wall, a flickering light turned on and lit up the room. Natsui had her breath taken away. I'm ready for it to be either some fuck shit. Was dead for 3 hours more than understandable. The room had no windows, and at a glance it appeared to be empty. In the middle of the room, a small round table had been set, and the lights brightened only that table, as if it were the leading part in a play. On top of the table, a red tablecloth of elaborate design had been set out, covered with dust. And on top of that, something about the size of the grown man's arm had been set down. That something took Natsui's breath away. Oh, gold.
凄まじい純度を持つ黄金のインゴットだよ。
So now
こいつがなければ誰も黄金伝説を信じはしなかった。
give me a minute real quick. I need to check on something. Alright, I'm back. Alright, I was about to say, why is it not showing desktop audio? Oh no, it's becoming the third Austin Powers movie. It's a gold ingot of incredible purity. Without this, no one would have believed in the legend of the gold. It was an ingot of solid gold. Even in the faint light, it sparkled with a noble and dignified glint.
こいつはまともなインゴットじゃない。
Okay, I was making sure I wasn't still muted.
このインゴットを鋳造したのが国内なのか国外なのか、それすらも私にはわからない。
I fucking know it's about the storm outside. It better fucking not. Not on a Saturday afternoon. Please don't. Well, then again, I've been dying of heat all day. So that may be helpful, actually. It took a high level of skill to make the purest of solid gold ingots. And in order to verify that purity, it was a standard to have the original foundry and the name of the bank that guaranteed it imprinted on the gold. However, this ingot didn't have that kind of seal. This mysterious gold bar had come from an unknown foundry.
ここを見たまえ。怯えることはない。こいつはただの金塊で。
It's just a bar of gold, as Beatrice just... I'm making up all these weird entrances for Beatrice to come in on, and she's just not gonna show up until the writing says she's allowed to. Because there's too many parts where it would be hilarious if she showed up. Natsui, following Krause's words, timidly approached the ingot.
そこだ。
Krause pointed at the surface of the ingot. Natsui concentrated on that section. Right there was the thin imprint of the one-winged eagle crest. Right? Oh, I just read that sentence, dumbass. Natsui's breath was taken away once again.
そうだよ。これこそが親父がベアトリーチェに与えられたといい、保証人のマルソーの会長に任意で一つを抜き取らせて持ち帰らせ。
Character we've been building is probably 10 times funnier than what Beatrice is actually gonna be like. I mean, yeah, but at the same time, people and like from someone who's still an outsider to this game specifically, people like that character a lot, so maybe more than likely, yeah. More than likely, yeah.
財界のフィッツァーたちを信用させたという伝説のインゴットなのだ。方々に手を尽くして私が見つけた。 他の兄弟たちより早くね。
そんな。じゃあお父様の黄金伝説は。
実在する。
Finally, it's actually real.
後宮金蔵が授けられたベアトリーチェの黄金は実在するのだよ。
We've achieved it. We've achieved fucking gold. Let's get it.
そんな。
No one can deny it anymore.
本当にあるなんて。
Okay, but here's the real question. When does the pain come in? Because it's been a while since we had pain. And even then, it hasn't been pain. Natsui was shocked. Kraus had always said that Kenzo's gold was just a fabrication, so she had believed it as his wife. However, the reality was different. Since he held definitive proof, he had been more certain than any of the other siblings that the legend of the gold was true. Because of this, Kraus was deeply frightened at the possibility that someone other than himself would find the gold he'd failed to find, costing him everything. But to Natsui, this truth was more than enough to split open her heart. She had thought that as Kraus's wife, she should be his closest confidant, which was why she had selflessly supported him. And yet, he had hid this fact from her until today. Why?
そこまでに私はあなたの信頼に足りないというのですか。
そういうつもりはない。話す必要がなかっただけだ。
あなたにとっては妻はその程度のものなのですか。
落ち着きたまえ。劇場にすぐ駆られるのは君の悪い癖だ。
あなたがそうさせてるんじゃないですか。私は後宮家に嫁ぎ、今日まであなたの妻として仕えてきました。あなたのために生まれた家を捨て、身も心も捧げてお仕えしてきました。その報いがこれなんですか。そんな。
Yeah, this is pain.
そんなことって。
Kraus grimaced, looking annoyed. His expression effectively communicated how much he disliked this part of Natsui, even if he didn't say it out loud.
私はもうあなたの力になれそうもありません。
Yeah, now here's the part where I question whether or not I feel same. Because to be fair, Natsui doesn't seem like that bad of a person yet, because there's almost always a yet.
それでいい。兄弟のトラブルを私が自分の力で解決する。君の力は借りんよ。
違います。これは後宮家のトラブルです。確かに私にはこの身に家紋を刻むことが許されていません。でもあなたの妻です。なのに私には力添えする資格もないのですか。あなた。
君を思えばこそあえて関わらせなかったのだ。これ以上は頭痛に障るだろう。君は今夜はこれで休みたまえ。兄弟の話は兄弟でつける。君は関係ない。それだけだ。
A dull headache tormented Natsui. No matter what medicine she took, no matter what scents she burned, it wouldn't heal. In fact, simply wandering alone through the dark corridors and listening to the sound of the rain seemed to be a better cure. I may be Natsui, but I was never Ushuramiya Natsui. I have been despised and treated as a borrowed womb, and insulted when I couldn't even fill that role. Even so, I have tried to properly perform my duties as a wife. But now even my husband has rejected me. I've done my best raising my daughter as if it were the last job left to me. However, I've had no release from my own anger and sadness, and they've caused me to subconsciously strain that relationship too. Because I've been excessively strict in Jessica's education, she dislikes me thoroughly. She despises me for having no interest in anything but grades. There's no longer anything I can do for the Ushuramiya family. No. That's no good. Despite it all, I must help my husband and beat back the schemes of the other greedy siblings. The family head won't be around much longer. Eventually, Kraus will succeed the head, and the next successor will be Jessica. Strictly speaking, the man who enters the family by marrying Jessica will become the next head, but it all comes to the same thing. I have to make Jessica an excellent successor whom everyone will accept as worthy to take over the Ushuramiya family. In the days to come, that greedy Ushuramiya Eva will probably be plotting to find some fault with the main family. And if all goes as she plans, Jessica will be dragged down from the succession, with George set up in her place. It is regrettable, but George is a man, and even more, has matured as a person. Compared to Jessica, who's right in the middle of her rebellious period, and whose grades are slightly below average, it can be seen at a glance who's more fit to succeed the head. So in order to secure Jessica's position, I need to turn her into an excellent person. After doing that, I want to find her an excellent husband worthy of the excellent person she will have become. The amount of times she said excellent threw me off. I'm gonna be real. A wonderful man who will truly accept Jessica and stay with her throughout all of life's joys and sorrows. Was Natsui trying to entrust her daughter with fulfilling some desire of her own? Natsui thought back to the days when she'd had no choice but to marry into the Ushuramiya family because of that unavoidable fate. She had tried to block that from her memory. She had consciously forgotten it, and had actively attended to the life she had been given as an Ushuramiya Natsui. And in doing so, she had built up a new life. But just now, it felt like all of that had been casually rejected. Natsui helplessly rested her head against the glass of the window. The glass, which was cool thanks to the raindrops beating against it, felt somehow refreshing, even though it should have been emotionless. Right then, it seemed to be the only thing that could understand Natsui. At that point, even if someone had appeared, Natsui didn't intend to pay any attention to them. But she did pay attention, because it was her beloved daughter. Just like always, her words were rough and not at all like a girl's. Instinctively, words of rebuke rose to Natsui's throat. However, their strength gave out and they didn't escape her lips.
Jessica, ごめんね。母さんは頭痛がひどいの。そっとしといてくれる？そう。
Jessica was seeing her mother in a position of feebleness for the first time, so she was considerably disconcerted. Until now, she'd been filled with contempt for all of the parents, including her mother. But now, those feelings had been completely swept away. Her mother's utterly exhausted face had wiped them all out. In its place, the words George had told her floated back up in her mind. Our parents are doing their best in their own way. And because their families are counting on them, they can't afford to keep everything pleasant and have a heavy responsibility to fight. Maybe her mother had been standing around in this dimly lit hallway because no one had tried to understand that in her. Jessica hated her mother, so she had no intention of speaking kindly to Natsui just because she was looking a bit frail. So when she attempted to speak kindly towards her mother anyway, she had to clench her fist and gather up the words from deep within her heart.
ずいぶん立て込んだ話をしてるようじゃん。
お前には関係あります。よそへ行っていなさい。
頭痛ひどい？私薬もらってこようか。
構わないで結構です。お願いだから一人きりにして。
Natsui wasn't being cold. She just wanted her daughter to go far away so she wouldn't have to bump against Natsui's own short temper. But there was no chance that Jessica would realize this. Jessica hung her head, looking sad. Seeing that expression, Natsuri recognized the kindness that Jessica was trying to muster. She gave her head a small shake to drive away her own unkind feelings.
じゃあ私行くよ。大人の邪魔にならないようにいとこたちと一緒にいるから。じゃあ。
お待ちなさい。
She called Jessica, who was trying to leave and looked lonely, to a stop.
気遣いをありがとう。お前を残して寝込むわけにはいきません。
よせよ。縁起でもないぜ。
心配をかけました。もう大丈夫です。私は行きます。
If I let my daughter see me this feeble any longer, I'll only make her feel more uneasy. With that thought in mind, Natsui left Jessica with words of gratitude and made to depart. This time, Jessica called out to her mother's back. Natsui stopped and turned around, asking what business Jessica had with her. But Jessica herself didn't know why she stopped her mother. And for a while, she smiled wryly, muttering to herself as she hesitated over what to say. She was poking around in her pocket when her hand touched something, and she took it out.
さ、母さん。私さ、今日お守りもらったんだよ。なんだっけな、魔除けだったっけ。確かそのドアノブにぶら下げてるといいんだっけ。忘れちまったぜ。私が持ってても仕方ないし。母さんにあげるよ。
It was the scorpion charm that Maria had given her on the beach. Although she'd heard its various effects from Maria, Jessica's mind had gone blank, and she was barely able to say even that much. Jessica, thinking that her mother probably wouldn't accept it anyway, immediately drew back the hand she had stuck out grasping the charm. There goes the brain. So when Natsui came back to take it, she was extremely shocked.
これは何かの景品？
まあ私も多分そうだろうと思ってるけどよ。こんなおもちゃみたいなお守りじゃご利益は期待できねえよな。
But her mother took the charm from where she grasped it in her hand.
ありがとう。大切にします。ジェシカには今度私が子供の頃大切にしていたお守りを代わりにあげましょう。
別にそんなつもりで渡すんじゃないぜ。でもまあどうしてもっていう
ので。では私はもう休みます。頭痛がひどいので。ジェシカもあまり夜更かしをしすぎないように。
Natsui put the charm in her pocket and turned away. She then disappeared into the dark hole.
やっぱり明日も丸一日こんな天気みたいだね。
やれやれ、今日の日中が嘘のようだぜ。
Georgianiki and I were killing time in front of the parlor television. Also, I'm sorry for the delays. I'm kind of fading as I'm reading. I think the heat in combination of this is making me lose energy just in general, because I felt fine and then it was just, oh. Look at the energy sapping. It was like 3 times as fast. At that point, Jessica returned. Her face was still blank, but it looked like she'd calmed down a little since we'd last seen her.
マリアはまだ肖像画前？
いや、
Where'd the child go?
さっき戻ってきて、今はそっちのソファーで寝てるぜ。
Okay, good. The child's safe.
マリアにはもう遅い時間だもんな。
I was about to say, if they let this fucking child go again, I'm hurting someone. Looking at the clock, I saw it was a little past 10 p.m. Even if we were planning on staying up all night, it was about time to head back to our room.
一応うちのおふくろが屋敷にも部屋を用意してくれたんだけどよ。どうする？
僕はゲストハウスに戻りたいかな。親たちの様子を見る限り、僕たちはお屋敷にいない方がいいと思う。
俺も同感だぜ。子供は邪魔せず引っ込んでろって感じみてえだからな。おとなしくそうするさ。
You know, this is a stupid idea, but it's gonna keep me more awake. Streaming with my fucking glasses off. Will it make it weirder and harder to read? Yeah, and I won't do it for long, but just... I'm not gonna lie, it's a slight pick me up whenever I'm tired. Just, the glass is off and you're doing things. That's insanity. As we were talking about this, Aunt Rosa came into the parlor. She was looking all over restlessly, probably trying to find Maria.
ローザおばさん、マリアならそこのソファーっすよ。
ありがとう。すっかり眠っちゃってるわね。ベッドに移さないと。
よかったら僕がベッドまで背負っていきましょうか。
ありがとう。助かるわ。ジョージ君たちはゲストハウスに戻るの？それとも夏日姉さんが用意してくれた部屋に泊まるのかしら？
今話し合ってました。ゲストハウスへ戻ろうかって話になったところです。
そうならマリアも一緒にしてあげてもいいかしら。いとこのみんなと一緒の方がきっと安心できると思うしね。
Behind those words, she seemed to be concealing some regret that the adults, herself included, had deeply hurt Maria's feelings.
任してくださいよおばさん。何しろこっちにゃマリアをあやすことに関してはエキスパートがいるっすからね。
それは僕のことかい？僕だけじゃ無理だよ。みんなでだよ。
そうだぜ。バトラだってあんなにもマリアと意気投合してふざけ合ってたじゃねえかよ。
As we said this, Aunt Rosa smiled, looking truly happy.
みんなありがとう。私たちの話し合いはだいぶ遅くまでかかりそう。だから申し訳ないけどマリアをみんなにお願いするわ。
おーいマリア、熟成ゲストハウス
Oh,
に
didn't
戻る
it
ぞ。
skip the line? I didn't think it would actually skip the line. Maria had muttered something indistinct, rolled over, and fell back asleep. It looked like she was sleeping deeply.
すっかり寝込んじゃったようだぜ。起こすのは悪いな。
僕が背負うよ。
Maria's body was much lighter than it looked. I lifted her up. I lifted her up and put her on George Oniki's back. It was raining hard outside, and Aniki couldn't hold an umbrella, and Maria carried Maria at the same time. My brain. So the glasses go back on. This is a hard fucking idea. What I did. Did not click on Spotify, computer. It looked like Aunt Rosa would come with us as far as the guest house to help out. However, when she heard Uncle Krause's voice call out to her, she had no voice but to return. No choice. We go. The big brain not reading correctly. Here we go.
もう戻らないと。
皆さんゲストハウスまでお戻りですか？
After we left the hall on the way to the entrance, the door to the servant room opened and Shannon Chan stepped out.
だいぶ暗くなっておりますので、私がご案内させていただきます。
ちょうどよかったわ、シャノンちゃん。ジョージ君がマリアをおぶっていってくれるの。傘をさしてあげてくれないかしら。
はい、かしこまりました。
It's that nigga with the command. Wait. How you doing? I am doing fine. I am trying not to die from the heat because even with with like the vents in the house set to cool, it's still like 80 something degrees in here. And even with the lights off, I'm still fucking dying. Even while drinking water, I'm still fucking dying. It's crazy. It now decides to be hell here. Shannon Chan brought umbrellas for each of us and a flashlight to guide the way. As we opened the front door, the downpour was quite terrific. It looked like we wouldn't have any spare time to take a pleasant walk and enjoy the nighttime rose garden. I'm dying from the heat. It's lightning and thundering outside. I don't know what's going on. Same. Like, I don't think we've reached lightning yet. I forget which one's the sound and which one's the actual thing. But I've been hearing the sound. The actual thing, not yet. It hasn't started outright raining. But we'll probably see if it's one or the other if power goes out at any point.
兄貴、重くねえか？俺が背負うぜ。
大丈夫だよ。マリアちゃんくらい背負えるよ。
本当にありがとうね。
How's it gonna thunder when the sun's... Brad, I don't fucking know. It was like yellow out. The sky was yellow outside, and now it's overcast. It was yellow outside when I started hearing it, and now it's overcast. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
マリアをよろしくお願い。
わかりました。じゃあおやすみなさい、おばさん。それではお送りしてまいります。
ええ、よろしく。
Aunt Rosa watched us leave.
マリア、いつもごめんね。
Okay, but are you, though? Rosa's mumbling voice didn't reach the person in question, nor any of the kids, but disappeared beneath the sound of the rain. When the leather learns to stance cancel from sun to lightning frame perfectly. Oh no! The weather is a melee player. Oh god. After cutting through the rainy rose garden, we arrived at the guest house.
俺がマリアを背負って立候補すりゃよかったぜ。そうすりゃ傘を差してくれるシャノンちゃんのでっけえお乳を二の腕でたっぷり堪能できたってのによ。
Yo, it's just that time again. It's that time again. It's just that time again to just be to be disapproving. To be fair, again, it's the least creepy thing to say here, but I'm sitting there like, nah, gotta summon the Black Air Force ones for that. I forgot how much I actually liked bringing in random fucking images for no reason.
そんなつもりじゃないよ。誤解だよ。
そうしないとジョージ様が濡れてしまうと思いまして。ほーら、バカなこと言ってないで入るぜ。
There it is. There's the sprite. The stream is blessed.
お召し物を濡らしてしまった方はいらっしゃいませんか？タオルを用意いたしますが。
Battler Brain sometimes has the window shut down. So. Oh god, I did not mean to click off of. I don't even think I clicked into the browser. It causes heat.
ありがとうよ、シャノンちゃん。
そうだ。
It causes him to say so fuck shit. Yeah.
僕たちはこれからトランプでもして少し遊ばないかって話なんだけど、よかったら少し一緒しないかい？
あれ？今日のシフト、深夜勤は誰になってんだ？親族会議中は特別シフトになってたと思いました。少し変更も出てるみたいなので、ちょっと確認してきます。
ああ、わざわざ屋敷に戻らないとわからないんなら無理に。
Okay, but
大丈夫です。
okay, but the real question: fuck is the witch showing up, man?
ゲストハウスの使用人室でわかりますので。
I want the witch to show up. I want to see. I want to understand the character. Shannon-chan gave a quick bow and went to the guest house sermon room. The rest of us headed for the cousin's room and decided to put Maria to the bed. Put her to the bed. That is a sentence. To put Maria to bed for the time being. Just toss the child into the bed. Don't even tuck her in. Maria was sleeping very deeply, and there was absolutely no sign of her eyes opening. For now, we'd get some soft drinks out of the room's refrigerator and drink those while playing cards or something.
Are? カノン君？源氏様までこちらに。今夜のシフトはどうなっているのでしょうか？
クラウス様の命令があってね。シフトの大掛かりな変更があったんだよ。
うん。ゴーダがお屋敷の深夜勤に変更になった。シャノンとカノンはゲストハウスの深夜勤。私とクマサワはゲストハウスに泊まるようにとのご命令。
Your reading skill's gonna get a Zenkai boost once you finished all of Umineko. Right, that's gonna take like a year, I'm gonna be real with you, because after episode 1, I'm taking a long ass break. Like that month break is nothing. I'm just gonna be sitting there like, damn, it's been 5 months, time to go back to the grind.
今夜はこのままこちらにとどまるよ。たった今、電話があった。
Like, hopefully by months from now, I'll have more things like, yeah, fair enough. Liz, hopefully by months from now, I'll find, like, better times and days to stream. Because I've literally just been doing it when I don't feel like work has been murdering me. And hopefully, with these 4-day weeks, if I actually am working 4-day weeks again, then that may be a lot easier, because I could probably do the day before I have my day off. Stream the day before I have my day off, or stream on the day off. So I can just have more time to do things. And yeah. Plus I feel like Umineko for me is like a strictly 2-hour affair for a stream. Because I'm sitting there like, yeah, it'll still take forever, but it'll be more consistent than, yo, I streamed for 5 hours. I do not want to look at this for another week.
お屋敷とゲストハウスの当番がまるっきり逆になってるじゃないですか。
You're finally going back to 4 days? Hopefully. I don't know if they'll do it consistently, because I know if obviously somebody calls out, I'm going to be the one to have to replace them, especially if they work the grill. But hopefully, I haven't gotten my schedule for this week yet. I'm kind of assuming, because I did bring it up to one of the managers and they talked to the boss about it. They didn't really say anything to me until I took the Tuesday off because I wasn't scheduled that day. And then I asked the next day, was I supposed to be off? And they're like, yeah. I eventually got... Yeah, like, I feel like I'll eventually get through this too. For me, it's just a combination of time and also... I don't know if this is heresy, but I feel like Umineko's slow bits are a lot less enjoyable than Higarashi's slow bits. Because a lot of Higarashi's slow bits, I was like, oh, I like most of these characters. I want to see good things happen to them. And then the pain kicks in. This so far has been, a couple of them are good, the rest I kind of don't give a fuck about. But look, some of y'all are cool. Y'all are the good people. And then you get someone like Kraus. And then you get the one scene with Rosa and Maria, and I'm like, oh. That's not even fun bad. That's just, oh. Kumasawa should have been sleeping in the guest house, while Genji should have been sleeping in the mansion. When Umineko gets slow, it's not bad, it's not good, it's yeah, that's the vibe I've been getting. Because the whole start, like the very beginning, I actually liked some of the dialogue, and now it's just kind of mostly been when they started bringing up the gold, and anytime Kenzo's on screen, I just kind of get in a state of, I could be doing other things. Like you said, it's not really good, but it's not really bad so far. I was supposed to be reading that, and there it goes. This is what happens when I start speaking. Should have been sleeping in the... Kumasawa should have been sleeping at the guest house, while Genji should have been sleeping in the mansion. However, it seemed that Kraus had suddenly ordered that the schedule be modified. The shifts at the guest house and the mansion had been reversed, and Genji was spending the night in the guest house. It's probably because of Beatrice Sama's letter. Okay.
多分ってどうして？
あんな怪しげな手紙が現れたら、クラウス様が僕たちを疑うのは当然だからね。
Overall, you still enjoyed the experience. I'm hoping I do come out of it enjoying it, because I'm like, I wouldn't be still streaming it despite all I've said if I didn't want to give it a chance. That, and I'm already like 15 hours in, I gotta at least go through like one whole ass episode. I at the very least gotta do like one whole ass episode. It's only fair at this point. Like, I could be reading worse. I read through the scuffed translated half of the Scramble for the Throne arc for Kinnikuman. This isn't nearly the level of to that, because that was actual pain.
親方様直属の僕たちを極力親族会議の席から遠ざけたかったんだろうよ。
Genji, Shannon, and Kanon were all permitted to wear the Ushiramiya family crest, the one-winged eagle, as the servants who served directly under Kenzo. Of course, since they were working for the Ushiramiya family, they had to obey anyone's orders, but their only boss was Kenzo. Since only Kenzo held the right to employ them, even Kraus couldn't have dismissed them of his own accord. Because of this, Kraus and the others often viewed these servants as Kenzo's underlings and shunned them. And in fact, Kenzo seldom let anyone other than them in his study. Back to work I go. See you later. Alright, right. The sudden shift change was probably a clear expression of the sense of mistrust that it caused. Considering the time Kenzo had left to live, this would definitely be the last family conference before the problem of the inheritance came up. On top of that, the mysterious letter that claimed to be from Beatrice had dropped in out of the blue. Kraus definitely wanted to keep Kenzo's loyal subjects away from the table of such a delicate and important discussion.
ではすまんが、私は向こうでくつろがせてもらう。もし何かあったらすぐに呼ぶように。今夜のお客様は特別だ。
はい、かしこまりました。源氏様。
Genji nodded back, went behind a screen, took off his jacket, and slowly began to relax after a day's worth of tension.
今お戻りになられたのはお子様方。
うん。親族の方々はお屋敷で会議を。だいぶ長引きそうな雰囲気だったかな。
なら気楽だね。これ以上の深夜になって、しかもこの天気。多分親族の皆さんはお屋敷の方のお部屋にお泊まりさ。
多分ね。源氏様がいないから言うけど、ゲストハウス行きになってちょっと嬉しかったかな。
ふん。どうしてだい？意地悪な奥様やエヴァ様から離れられたから？それとも別の理由があるのかい？
別の理由なんかありません。
そっか。なら二人で深夜勤を頑張ろう。よろしく姉さん。
私ついさっきお子様方にお部屋で遊ばないかとお呼ばれしてて。
Shannon hung her head apologetically, gazing at Kanon uncertainly. Kanon didn't try to meet her eyes, and spoke curtly as he sighed. It looked like he didn't plan on indulging his sister.
ダメだよ。深夜勤を仰せつかってる。それに僕たち家具には遊びのお誘いは必要ない。わかるね。
そんなことわかってます。
Shannon's shoulders drooped slightly. She had already expected that Kanon, a stickler for the rules, would say something like that, but she still seemed a little discouraged. As Kanon flipped through a logbook, he spoke without facing Shannon.
なら、お子様方お待たせしてしまってるね。深夜勤に当たってしまったから、ご一緒できないと謝ってこなきゃ。行ってきなよ。
私、謝ってくるね。
Shannon hurriedly stood from her seat before her brother's mood could change and flew out of the servant room after giving a quick bow. As he watched her go, Kanon took a single deep breath. Genji's voice came from behind the screen.
Kanon, 私がここにいるから、お前も行くといい。
源氏様、誘われたのはシャノンだけです。僕は別に誘われては。
その場にいなかったからお声をかけられなかっただけだ。言えばお前も誘われている。たまには子供らしく遊んでくるといい。
いえ、僕には必要ない行為です。人の子には遊びも必要でしょうが、僕らは家具ですから。
そうか。
姉さんだって家具です。人のふりをしたって後で苦しむだけなのに。 僕はそれが分かっているから人に近づきたくないだけなんです。
Genji didn't say anything at all after that. After a while, he stood up and used a pot of hot water to make powdered cocoa, serving some to Kanon as well.
そりゃ本当かよ。そりゃ知らなかったぜ。
バカ、声が大きいぜ。マリアが起きちゃうだろ。
Battler was so surprised that he yelled obnoxiously and scattered his cards everywhere. His voice caused Maria to turn over once, but she soon fell back into a deep sleep. Jessica gave him a jab, and he lowered his voice.
あ、いや、しかし言われてみれば確かにそれっぽい雰囲気はあったんだよな。はあ、なるほどな。ジョージの兄貴がな。
George couldn't be seen anywhere in the room. A short while ago, when Shannon came into the room, George suddenly said that he'd forgotten something in the mansion and needed to go back to get it. Shannon said she would guide him, just like she had on the way to the guest house, and the two of them departed together.
いや、昔からそれっぽい気配はあったんだぜ。
Finally, the sprite again.
好きなものを聞いてきたり、趣味を聞いてきたりさ。単に関心を持つだけにしてはどうもなんて思ってたらよ。
そういや、昔っからジョージの兄貴はシャノンちゃんにやたらと優しかった気がするぜ。なるほどな。
天気予報によると今夜が一番ひどいみたい。明日いっぱいも止まないらしいけど、もう少しマシになるそうだよ。
そうですか。ではあさってまでは船は来られないかもしれませんね。ジョージ様の月曜日のお勤めに差し支えが出ないか心配です。
台風が来ていることは知っていたからね。万一に備えて月曜日には予定を入れなかったから大丈夫さ。こう見えてもスケジュールは先読みできるタイプなんだ。
George puffed out his chest, acting proud. Compared to the calm appearance George had always had as the oldest cousin, he now looked amusingly like a little kid. Shannon chuckled at this abrupt contrast.
さすが。やがては会社を起こされる方はしっかりしていますね。
やっぱり会社を起こすというのは大変だね。お金とかそういうのだけじゃないものがとても大事だって。父さんのところで勉強していてわかるよ。会社を起こすということは城を持ち部下を率いるということ。うちの父さんは秀吉って名前だけあって戦国武将のエピソードがとても好きでね。会社経営の哲学をよくそこから語るんだ。知ってるかい？戦国最強の騎馬軍団と恐れられた武田信玄も最初は部下たちの結束がバラバラで統率力をまるで発揮できなかったんだそうだよ。
そうなんですか？なんだか意外ですね。
信玄は部下たちを結束させるため数々のリーダーシップを発揮してるんだよ。例えば戦場で武功を立てた部下に対しすぐその場で褒章を与えたり、普通こういうのは戦が終わってからまとめてやるものだからね。それを 戦場の本陣の中にいながらまめにやり続け、部下の武功を素早く評価しやる気につなげたというのは非常に大きいことだよ。それから部下が病気で伏せった時には誰よりも早く駆けつけお見舞いをしたとかね。武田信玄は戦国最強の騎馬軍団を率いただけじゃない、戦国一の部下思いの人だったんだよ。
そんな方だから部下の皆さんもついてきてくれたんですね。
The truth was, Shannon had already heard this story several years ago. But whenever the discussion of his father led to this sort of... Get out the way... There we go. This sort of topic, George would always glow and look like he was having a great time. So Shannon just smiled without interrupting, urging him to continue.
確かに資本主義の世界ではお金は力で石垣の高さでもある。でもね、戦も城も自分一人じゃ成り立たない。大勢の部下に支えられ、その力を借りて初めて成立するものなんだよ。それを理解してから父さんの背中を見ると、自分がいかに未熟で、父さんがどれほどの切磋琢磨をして今日を築き上げてきたかがよくわかるんだ。
ジョージ様はお父様のことをとても尊敬されているんですね。羨ましいです。
あ、ごめん。別にそういう意味で言ったんじゃないんだよ。
すみません。私も別にそういう意味で言ったつもりは。
The two of them awkwardly looked at their feet. Shannon had no parents. She had been brought up in an orphanage owned by Kenzo called the Fukuin House. Under the guidance of Kenzo, their honorary director, the orphanage offered members who excelled at chance on the job serving, chance for on-the-job serving, surfing experience. If their efforts met Kenzo's approval, they'd be able to leave the orphanage and work as servants for the Ushiramiya family. This was considered to be the highest honor for those who lived in the orphanage. Servants of the Fukuin house all took names with the character "on" in them while they served. So Shannon wasn't her real name. The same went for Kanon. All the members of the Fukuin house were orphans. At least, they were all people who'd been separated from their parents under special circumstances. I was about to say special certain circumstances. Because of this, the orphans had been taught to think of each other as their only family. That's why it seemed so natural to both of them when Kanon called Shannon his sister. And while both Shannon and Kanon were working in the mansion today, there were several other servants possessing their own character in their names, such as Manon and Lennon, who often worked in a rotation schedule. However, there were not many servants who stayed with the Ushiramiya family for long. It was standard for them to quit after 3 years, so you could probably say that Shannon, who had been working for them 10 years, was a notable exception to the rule. Working as a servant for the Ushiramiya family was a heavy burden to bear, but the pay wasn't bad at all. Working for 3 full years would earn more than what was needed to enter mainstream society. That was why, even though the orphans realized what a harsh task working for the Ushiramiya family was, they still hoped to be accepted. Maybe the fact that Shannon managed to continue working for 10 years wasn't because she had more willpower than the other servants. Maybe she'd gotten stuck working for 10 years because she didn't have the courage to say she wanted to quit. Kenzo couldn't even trust his own blood relatives, and those servants set from the Fukuin house were the only ones he could rely on. Because of that, Kenzo would sometimes allow them to wear their family crest as servants under his direct control, and have them work close to him.
もう勤めて10年近くになるんだっけ。だいぶお金も貯まったんじゃないかい。
どうでしょう。別に私買いたいものも特にありませんし、ほんの何百万かあったってそれで残りの人生を過ごせるわけもありませんし。
目標の額があってお勤めを続けてるわけじゃないのかい。
そうですね。私はこのお屋敷以外に行くあてもありませんし、お嬢様とも他の使用人の子たちとも仲良くやれてますし、奥様には時折お叱りを受けますけど、バラの世話やお屋敷のお掃除も楽しいですし。
でもそれはシャノンちゃんの。サヨちゃんの人生じゃない。
Shannon cast her eyes downwards as she heard her real name. She understood what George was trying to say and fell silent.
僕は成人し社会人になってからも勉強して分かったことがある。子供の頃僕らが思っていたほど人生は単調で短くないんだ。
All age school kids have certain fears they can't shake. They wonder whether they'll live the rest of their lives like sleepy classes after a monotonous and boring school day, spending their time in carefree laziness without anything interesting happening until it's all over. However, life's only like that for underage students. Compared to a human's life, the time they spend as students is nothing more than a blink of an eye, a period where they break through the shells of their immaturity. The inside of the shell may be hot, suffocating, in a boring world, but the world beyond that shell is vast and filled with limitless possibilities.
君の人生はまだシャノンという殻の中でしかないんだ。君は自分の人生がこの生活のままずっと続いていくと勘違いしてるんじゃないかな。
それは。
Shannon couldn't deny those words. She'd been unable to harbor any clear doubts about her lifestyle, and since she never had any hopes or goals for changing herself, she'd lazily continued living the same way she always had. And if asked whether this lifestyle was satisfying, she wouldn't have been able to nod. She may have been intentionally averting her eyes from the truth. Without George's admonishments, she would have continued pretending not to notice as her life slipped away bit by bit, neglected.
ジョージ様、私はこのままでいてはいけないのでしょうか。
いけないよ。あ、それから今ルール違反が一つあったね。
George immediately gave a strict answer, then broke out into a mischievous smile. Shannon already knew what she was being chided for, and she hung her head again, apparently embarrassed.
僕たちしかいないときは様はなしの約束だよ。
約束では聞けません。ですが、ご命令でしたら聞かないわけにはいきません。私は家具ですから。
じゃあ命令だよ。
はい、かしこまりました、ジョージさん。
As Shannon hung her head, her face red, she said George's name again, this time following it with song.
それでいいよ、さやちゃん。
George smiled at Shannon, no, Sayo, to praise her small act of bravery. The short exchange alone made it clear how far back their relationship must have stretched. For a long while, the two talked as if the weather raging about them didn't even enter their thoughts. They talked about the many memories they'd built during their relationship that no one else knew about. Every once in a while, a flash of lightning would attempt to interrupt them, but this could sully neither the roses nor the time they spent blushing at each other.
そうだ、君に見せたいものがあって。
なんでしょうか。
George, who had been speaking eloquently, suddenly started to stutter. Watching him, Shannon seemed to guess something. George timidly searched through his pocket. Something got caught in the depths of his pocket, and just like the stuttering George, it took a while to get it out. It was a very small box covered in deep blue velvet. That particular shape was enough to tell anyone was resting inside. Oh shit. Shannon had prepared her heart somewhat, certain beforehand that this was what he'd been planning. But even so, when she actually saw it, she couldn't avoid blushing once more. George opened the small box, took something out, and held it out for Shannon to take. George, if you're doing what I think you're doing, and it's painfully obvious it is, you're a fucking Giga Chad.
これを君に受け取ってほしいんだ。
このような高価なものは、お受け取りできません。
受け取れない。
いえ、こんなもの、私には過ぎていて。
さよ、これはお願いじゃない。命令だよ。この指輪を受け取ってね。
It's fucking Chad.
命令では従わなくてはなりません。
そうだね。いい子だよ。
Shannon, not wanting to show her bright red face, timidly accepted the ring from George's hand while still staring at the ground. That ring wasn't a simple accessory. Thanks, Brain. It was a noble object meant since ancient times to be offered to a special woman under special circumstances. Therefore, while George could order her to take it, he couldn't order anything beyond that. Anything beyond that would depend not on order, but on Shannon's no, Sayo's own will.
だからここからはもう命令じゃない。さよ、明日までに言葉でない形で返事がもらいたい。わかるね。
どうすれば。
もうこれ以上は命令じゃないから、僕は君に命令はしない。でも指輪は指にするものだからね。気に入ってくれたなら好きな指につけてくれればいい。
Shannon had only pretended not to know. She already understood what he wanted her to do. But she was standing there at a huge crossroads of her life.
もうこんな時間だね。今夜はこれくらいにしよう。
George stood away from Shannon, acting just a bit bluntly.
君に左手につけてほしいと命令することもできるかもしれない。君も命令されればそれに従えるという臆病な甘えがあるかもしれない。でも最後のここだけは君のさよの意志でしてもらいたいんだ。わかるね。
はい。
だからそれが命令。今夜よく考えて明日その返事を見せてほしい。
Shannon nodded back. Today was the culmination of their many days spent together. This moment certainly hadn't come as a surprise to Shannon.
そろそろゲストハウスに戻ろうか。これ以上遅いとみんなを心配させちゃうよ。
すみません。私そのお屋敷にいようを思い出しまして、そのお屋敷へ行かねばなりません。
こんな時間に本当かな。
Said, Choo! George stared into Shannon's face as he laughed mischievously. He definitely saw through Shannon's lie. However, when he saw how she felt, he could sort of understand that she might be embarrassed that she'd want to be alone. So because George realized the meaning behind Shannon's lie, he accepted it. Can't believe it's 11 p.m. Absolute madmen. So the OLED Switch got dropped to $299. Huh. Alright. So I'm gonna... solely because... I'm not as in an Umineko mood as I thought I was today. I really thought I was. Yeah, like an hour and a half of Umineko and a glass break. I feel like that's a decent... I feel like playing this until we reach a glass break is fine. So let me switch to something else, because I realized I never got rid of the starting soon text. Didn't show up over the game, but it's fine. We take those. We take that. So moving on. What did I actually want to play? Actually, wait a minute. Let me actually put in my controller because, you know, because I heard that Umineko was kind of shaky trying to play with the controller hooked up in general. I have to keep it unplugged whenever I turn it on. Actually, let me look through my emulators real quick. Actually, no. That's what I meant to. I meant to try, like, Melon DS. Trying to stream that again. Because last time it didn't go that well, and I doubt it'll go super well this time, but who knows? So I just have that up. There we go. You know what, fuck it, since this was already playing it the other day. Move it up a bit. Why is Steam telling me to update? Oh god. Thank you, Steam. Very cool. So I've already beaten the game on my own time. And honestly, I don't feel like I'm doing, like, full stream of this yet. Like, it'll be a while because this is just a beat 'em up I'm not that fond of, but don't dislike. It's one of those weird middle ground games for me. Do you want to overwrite? Yeah. And I figure since it skips cutscenes, I'll do character mode. At this time, the caveat is that I do it on hard. Actually, let me up the volume and... Alright. Oh yeah, I gotta tap to select it. I was using the D-pad like an idiot. What? Scar. I have to click the name.
Alchemy. The science of understanding the structure of matter, breaking it down, then reconstructing it as something else. It can even make gold from lead. But alchemy is a science, and so it must follow the natural laws. Mass simply cannot change. To create, something of equal value must be lost. This is the principle of equivalent exchange. But on that night, I learned the value of some things can't be measured on a simple scale.
Let's go.
Yeah, there's not... Like, this is like a 2-button game. There's nothing to really explain. It's pretty simplistic. Alchemy's on the touch screen, and these orbs give you more alchemist symbols, which makes your alchemy stronger if you hold one of the prompts on the bottom screen. So yeah, like that. It's basically all you need to know. Damn it. Too slow. Oh yeah, it makes you restart the section. Oh god. Oh, it changes every time. I didn't know that. Actually, you know what probably would be better off of? As much as I'd hate it, if I can activate frame skipping, it may just be beneficial in general. Or just unlimit the frame rate. It's now just giving me healing items. Can't believe they made a video game. It's just the one level, the one section on repeat. It's crazy. Okay, this time... There we go. Get me in there. Yeah. There's a faster way to do that. But I'm doing it the safe way. Kind of realized there really is no point to this room, huh? It's not even really that good of a trap room. It's just kind of there. Yeah. Fight it. Look at this skill. Look at this. Majestic. I don't think them jumping in actually hurts you either. That's the funny part. Yeah. Doesn't hurt you. Easy. Easy clap. So I need to see it use Ed. Excuse me? I was about to say. Wait a minute. Then I probably still gotta do all of Ed's mini games still. Because I'm assuming it's just the same as like a regular run, you just play as a different character. Alright. Actually, I want to see if the same strat works. Yeah, it's a slower way, but... No, you always wanted to be 4 out of 10. Infinitely slower, but funnier. Bully proof. Unbully proof. Yeah, so this is basically the fight. He's gonna keep summoning them until he dies. There are a couple of fights in the game like this. Knowing this is the easiest way to get rid of them, I'm not even gonna bother using the cannon. Like, it resets to neutral too, so it makes the AI loop. good. If you can't tell, I don't take this boss seriously at all. I'm doing this solely just to do it. Back on the train. I think there are more enemies on hard now that I think about it. Oh no, like I never paid attention to the enemy count on normal. Because admittedly, when a game like this gives me an enemy count, why do I care? Okay, never mind. Well, I guess it wouldn't make sense for us to have to untie the dude, right? So... Oh my god. Yeah. That's the unfair bit about this game. There's a decent amount of situations it's really easy to get juggled into. That was my own fault. Like, I can't get mad at the game for that one. Luckily, the punishment for death is just kind of doing the section over, so I'll live. Well, I am not a massive fan of any of you. Well, back to the room. Is the health still gonna be there, though? Where the health? Damn it. Healthant. Oh no. Yeah, if this goes for another loop, I'm dying. Are you kidding me? I'm dead. What a great Saturday stream this has been. Pain. Are you kidding? There's not a solid wall. So you know, I'm ending the